When I was in school, one of the things I like most about math is it's unambiguous. Things are or they are not. You can only arrive at one answer if you're doing things correctly, if you're following the math. But for whatever reason, when it comes to tariffs, that doesn't seem to be the case. You have the Democrats arguing one thing, you have the Republicans arguing another thing. But if the math is finite, then I don't understand how we're getting two different answers.
You can't say that.
Is he allowed to say that?
Say it louder.
We have this article from the New York Times. It says Trump tariffs threaten to upend global economic order. I did the required reading. We're not going to go through every single thing that's in here, word for word. But I wanted to talk about some key points so we could be on the same page. Maybe there's something I'm not understanding that you guys do understand, and you could explain it to me. I'm open to new information. It says that Trump is going to impose the tariffs that he promised that he was going to impose on China, Mexico, and Canada. Here it says the speed and scope of the import duties that Mr. Trump unveiled in executive orders on Saturday prompted widespread criticism from many lawmakers, economists, and business groups who assailed the actions as economic malpractice. They have warned that the tariffs, which were levied in response to Mr. Trump's concern about fentanyl smuggling and illegal immigration, could inflame inflation, cripple American industries, and make China an even more powerful global trade hub. So this seems to be about fentanyl coming into the country and illegal immigrants coming into the country. I'm going to address the first thing. If you've been around this channel for any length of time, I say it often and I'm going to say it again. It is not the government's job to tell you what to put in your body. If you want to do drugs, that's your prerogative. I don't agree with it. I don't think that you should, but I think that it's your right to choose what goes in your body. I feel the same way about the COVID vaccine. I feel the same way about abortion. It's not the government's job to regulate what it is that you do with your body if it's only affecting you. Now, in terms of drugs, we already have laws to prevent people from doing things like drinking and driving, they might hurt somebody while they're intoxicated. There are already laws for that. We don't need the government telling people what to do. So if you want to do fentanyl, by all means, knock yourself out, literally. On the issue of illegal immigrants, if you came here illegally and there is a process for you to come here legally, then you got to go home. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We don't have to get into how you feel about it or what the ethics are. Listen, we only have so much infrastructure here, and we can't have everybody just eating off of the infrastructure. The people that have come here legally, the people that were born here, this infrastructure is for them. The way I see it, America is already on her last days. Like, we're doing whatever we can to hold on to the little bit that we have left, and inviting more people to come here is not a way forward. So if you're here illegally, you got to go home. Now that that's out the way, I want to get back to the issue on the tariffs specifically. And if you see me, I'm looking at my kids on the baby monitor. I got to make sure these babies are all right. Instead of me trying to explain the tariffs, I'm just going to let this TikTok do it. This guy got 20.8 million views. So obviously, some people like the information. Let's check it out.
Because I sell t-shirts and all that stuff.
Your t-shirts are made in the USA?
No, my blanks, no. See, that's the thing Trump's talking about. If we tax them, hit tariffs, the same item they're making over there will cost the same to make over here.
We pay the tariffs.
Well, the companies pay the tariffs, not us.
China doesn't pay the tariffs. We do when they come in.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Like if I'm buying 1,000 shirts from China and there's a tariff on it, I'm paying the tariff.
Well, no, whoever's getting it imported in is going to pay the tariffs.
Yeah. I'm the business owner. I'm paying the tariff. China doesn't pay it. I pay for it.
Well,
Like if I'm the business owner and I buy 1,000 shirts,
I see what you're saying.
China's not Jolly. So I'm trying to explain.
Who pays the tariff?
They're paying the tariff.
Do you think that? You believe that?
Because I was trying to say, because I sell merch as well.
I sell you something for $10, right? You're going to sell it to him for $20.
Exactly.
But then I make you pay me $15 for it. Are you still going to sell it to him for $20?
Am I going to sell it to him for $20?
If I raise the price $5.
Oh, it's going to have to go up.
Right. So
Yeah, the consumer foots the bill.
Have a good day.
Well, there we have it. The house never loses. So if the business owner has to pay more, it only makes sense that the consumer is going to have to pay more. If the intention is to get people to do business and get their resources in America instead of getting them from other countries, that's why we're giving the tariff and raising the prices on the things that are being imported in here. A product gets shipped, an import tax is added on top of it, and that price gets added on to the consumer. It gets tacked on to the consumer at the end. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Simple math, right? So if it takes $25 to produce something now and then you tax another 25% on it, it takes $29 to produce and get into the US. That $4 may get passed on to the consumer. So instead of dealing with the outside country, you're going to buy it from the US. You're going to find a way to have it manufactured in the US. I don't know if our infrastructure, as far as machinery and stuff, supports mass producing things like we used to, which is why we get them from China and things like that. But that's the basic concept, right? That's math. What I don't understand is why there's so much division between the left and the right about if this is going to work or if it's not going to work. Does the math check out? Yes or no? The math says that if you bring something in, the price of that thing is going up and the business is not going to lose money. So it gets passed on to the consumer. I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm not saying that I disagree with it. Either way, it doesn't matter because Trump is the president and he's going to do what he thinks is best for leading the economy. It just doesn't make sense to me why we have to have so much back and forth. Now we're having other countries threaten to impose tariffs on us as well, which is expected. You can't just tell countries that we're not going to have the free trade that we once had and expect them not to retaliate. So we'll see how they retaliate in the coming days, weeks, and months. But we're absolutely going to have some repercussion. The lifeblood of this country is capitalism. So we found a place to produce what it is that we're looking for, whatever it is that we're important. We found a place that can produce it for the cheapest amount of money so we can make the most amount of profit. This is why we have these trade agreements in the first place. In order to try to bring down inflation, which is one of his talking points, in order to bring back manufacturing jobs in the U.S., we're imposing these tariffs. Are we going to produce them for less than it takes to get them from another country? Because this heavy machinery, it costs a lot of money. And we know a business's largest expense is people. So not only do they have to build the facilities and hire the people, they have to make the product affordable and viable to whichever company is trying to sell it. I'm not an expert on this. This is just my basic thinking. You know, I only took calculus 2 and I dropped out of college. So take what I'm saying as a grain of salt. Maybe my math doesn't check out. We're going to see where all of these discussions go, where the tariffs from the U.S. go, the retaliation from China, Canada, and Mexico. We're going to see if any of this, and we're going to see if any of this stops some of the immigration and fentanyl that's coming into the country. I don't think it's going to stop at least the fentanyl because we already failed at fighting the war on drugs. If you like the video, like the video. Subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. If you have thoughts on the tariffs, if you have thoughts on the illegal immigrants or the war on drugs and fentanyl coming into the country, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. Till next time. Peace.